Hey everyone, Kerbal Space Program's come a long way since I last did a video, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to restart my career mode now and try and do it a bit more successfully than last time. But I'm going to be making a lot of use of the new features in Kerbal Space Program 0.25, which, in case you haven't heard the news, is the last big expansion before the game is out of early access and into beta mode. So this is pretty much the game as it's going to look on full, more or less, the last big addition. And with it came these difficulty additions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase my starting science a little bit, but I'm going to try and balance that by lowering my reputation. The reason I'm doing this is because I'm playing with remote tech, and I'd like very quickly to be able to get those satellites up, because it's a lot of dead time at the beginning of a career mode. So I'm really happy that Kerbal Space Program has introduced those kinds of features. So here we are with a new career, and we have a new building. This is the administration building, and you can see here there are 4 Kerbals who, when you have more money or more science or more reputation, you can use them to get boosts for your programs. And I'm just opening up now the basic contracts, build a new vessel, okay, and height, okay. And okay, I'm going to hire my first set of astronauts, my Mercury 7 as it were, the 1, 2, 3. Picking ones with good stats, because I don't know if after it goes to 0.9 they'll be actually used for anything. I'm not sure if they're used for anything at the moment, I guess not. So yes, now let's unlock all of this science. I don't have the Kerbal build time mod because I just felt it wasn't really adding anything. Maybe on my own private playthroughs as a difficulty limitation, sure. So now I've got the ability to build robotic things from the start, which I think is more real, to be honest. I don't really like that the first thing you send up is a living specimen. Oh yes, and as well with it, I've researched it, but with this mod now you need to buy the individual components, and they all come out of your starting money. So let's go to the vehicle assembly building. I've not actually bought any parts yet. I want to buy them as needed. Okay. And let's just start with a simple K1 like I started with last time. It's going to be very similar, but as you can see I've got a lot of mods on now, so the following vehicles should have a little bit more variety to them. I'm putting an antenna on because I want to be able to maximize the amount of science I'm getting out of every single mission. The antenna came free at the beginning, but other things you will need to buy. For example, this battery pack. You see how at the bottom there's a purchase button. When you do that, then it's available, but that comes out of your starting finance. And at the very beginning of the game, money is really limited and the contracts don't give you a whole lot, so it's better just saving that for now. I'm going to buy this decoupler though, because it fits quite well with the 1 meter pod. And well, they're cheaper. I can have one of those for the same as 2 of the others, so might as well try. And then what that'll do is that'll give me more energy to send things back over the radio. And screw it, the only way I can get it to fit is with symmetry, so that's 2 anyway. Ah. And then that doesn't fit. Well, boolocks to that, but fits here, and it looks kind of okay. It looks almost like it was made for it, except it wasn't. So let's limit the thrust and the fuel because save money, and because we don't want to go to orbit straight away. And of course, you can't play Kerbal Space Program without the FASA Clamps. Okay, and oh yeah, staging. One thing I always forget. Seems to be okay. Don't need anything else. No. See, I'm using the remote tech mod, and I don't know if I need this for communications. Just in case, I'm going to add one anyway. Okay. Well, that's a basic ship. That should get us into the air at least. Hopefully above the 5,000 mark. And here we are on the launch pad. so okay, we've got Jeb in for this one. He's going to be the first test pilot. And let's just right away get a crew report from the launch pad. Because, you know, why not? We're here. And the electricity is refueling because I'm on the launch pad as well. Or is that going down? That's going, okay. So let's get a crew report from here as well. Oh, EVA report as well. And, okay. Well, that's all ready to go. Problem with solid fuel boosters is they don't recharge your engines, or your battery power, so you're quite limited until you can get up to a reasonable liquid fuel rocket. But yeah, straight up. And oh, another thing. It's probably worth pitching over because in this version of Kerbal Space Program now, the buildings are destructible, which would screw over my entire program at this stage. So yeah, thinking about that, it's probably worth pitching over, but the thick atmosphere this far down isn't really letting me. But we're at 5,000, so that's mission accomplished for that. And we launched this new vehicle, so that's a mission accomplished for that too. A little bit worried at how straight up I'm going. I'm trying to pull it over. And yeah, okay, so about 20,000 is what we get for that. Let's get a crew report. Oh, we're in the upper atmosphere. So let's send that because we're kind of cresting the curve, so we can send it without a problem because the airspeed velocity over the antenna is not going to rip it off. I'm just thinking as well if when we kind of do the loop where the Jeb could get out and get the upper atmosphere EVA, because we're going to be like moving 0 horizontal. And we're at 30,000, it's quite a thin atmosphere. Just a waiting game. I'm checking the velocity at the bottom to see when that flips over and I start going down. Problem is I got a little bit of horizontal speed here, which won't be helping. Okay, let's think. When do I call it? That's the thing. Because if, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but he could just zip off and fly away, which won't, oh, like is what is happening now. Come on. And he's back inside. Okay. So that got us the upper atmosphere EVA. Let's detach and come straight back down and hope that that doesn't hit the space center. Okay, so bring it down. It's just a deploy the parachute situation now. And I think we should be over the grasslands, so any extra science we can pick up from there as well. We should be able to beam it straight back to the space center. Yeah, like this crew report, but okay. That's the parachute starting to slow us down. And there we go. Now we can do the EVA quick. Don't do the EVA when the parachute's not fully deployed because you will just shoot off past the rocket. And we are down. Okay, so the one last thing, just, keeping the books, is to do the crew report on the ground, the EVA on the ground, and take a surface sample. That's everything you should do when you land at a new biome on Kerbin. Just got that extra bit of science. Ooh, new button. Very nice. So back to the Space Center, we have science, we have parts, we have crew. Quite a bit of science, actually. That's not bad. So that got us a little bit more science. That got us some reputation, a little bit of money. Okay, guys. So can we unlock anything else? We can. Almost. Yeah, let's go for the extra engine parts rather than the clamps. Because at the minute we're still on 1 meter parts, still quite light ships. We don't need the big pieces. And let's have a look at any contracts that are now available. This is to position a satellite. Escape the atmosphere. Okay, now some of these are only activated when you actually put a Kerbin into space. It's not just a satellite. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the kind of milestone ones, get into orbit, get out the atmosphere, that kind of thing, and a satellite launch contract. That's how I'm playing this career mode. I want it to be a little bit like SpaceX. Taking contracts and then eventually building up your science to do crazy shiz in the future. Okay, so we have our probe and a reaction wheel. Now again, these parts I've had to buy from Fresh, and that's going to limit my the amount of money I can launch with. So how are we going to do this? I'm thinking we have a lot of parts to play with, but we should just have a little RCS engine on the back of it, which I've just bought. Obviously, remote tech requires the communications, so let's stick that on. I'm not a big fan of having stuff sticking out. I mean, I like to keep it all kind of compact, so I do try and clip stuff. I don't know if it's a little bit gamey, but the way I see it is you always try and monopolize the amount of space you've got if you're doing a space mission. It's volume and mass, they're the limiters. And batteries. Ooh, 2 times because we have the antennas on the other side. Because at the minute I have no communication satellites, so I need to get all of this done before it's out of the range of the Space Center. Okay, they kind of fit. I'm thinking maybe I'll need more solar panels though. Primarily because at any one time I think only 2 of them will be pointing at the sun, so I don't think one will be able to cope with the demands of the remote tech communications. Let's go with 1 for this one. I'm going to go for 1 big liquid fuel stage for the entire rocket. With just the medium engine from the KW Rocketry for the 1 meter parts. And that's going to be it for this. I mean, just to get into orbit, that should be okay. The orbit for the probe from the contract we accepted wasn't that high. Ooh, it won't fit. Okay, so let's bring it up again. See, I'm getting a little bit paranoid that this won't be enough. Just 1 engine to lift it. So let's go with a solid fuel side engine as well, just to be safe. Ah, and that won't connect to the bottom. Okay, that has to connect there. That's fair enough. Looks a little weird, but it's okay. And make sure that that's exactly on the middle, because otherwise we'll get some kind of spin, and we really don't want that. So all that's left now should just be to put the fairings on top, which are the normal 1.25 meter. So the way these work, if you've never seen this before, KW Rocketry, you put the fairing cone at the bottom, and then you put the conical part, and then the side fairings, as many as you need to fit it back down to the fairing base. And there's me rocket. Okay, just check the staging now. 50 times bidden, once shy, or whatever, because this has happened to me a lot. And just reducing the thrust here, because otherwise it'll burn out in 10 seconds, normally. So, okay. And the important thing is when to open the fairings, because the solar power is dependent on that. The ability for you to release your ship is dependent on that, and it's really kind of annoying to have to rejiggle the whole staging setup when you're in space. And I'm just checking now to see whether I think I can do it. Check the contract window is a good tip when you're in this, because there might be some specific things you need to do. And I'm thinking that I'm going to be so far away that I do need some kind of communications that more than just the basic antenna, because I'm going to be so far away. So I've got nowhere to put a dish, so I'm using this one, which is, I think it's a stock part, but it's made to work with remote tech. Stick that on. Oh yes, so we're going to get rid of that one and just put one on the other side. Now, that might unbalance it a little bit, because I know that that's got a lot of mass compared to the remote tech antenna. The dish, the foldable dish, has got quite a lot of mass. So it's probably going to pull to one side. But we'll see. I'm sure it'll be fine. So on the launch pad, the fairing clamp at the bottom looks a little bit ridiculous, but you know, let's get going. And it's okay. Well, thrust wasn't an issue. This is going up quite well. And okay, I'm sideways on, which might make decoupling the side pods a little bit strange. Okay, and I'm already getting the speed effects, so I'm thinking I've put way too much throttle in this. I'm just going to throttle back on the liquid fuel, which isn't burning out that fast. I've got loads of liquid fuel left, but it's better to be this way around, because the thicker the atmosphere is at the bottom, the more thrust you should have. When it's nice and loose at the top, you can just gently coast. But what I'm doing now is rotating, so that when I decouple those side pods, they're not going to hit me. Okay, there we go. Like that. See, that would have been disastrous if I'd been in the way. And now let's take my giant phallic-shaped object into space. Pitch over, and again I'm using realism mods here. For example, I'm using the near mod for aerodynamics, so I don't want to barrel over if I'm pointing too steeply. Sometimes you can power out of it, sometimes increasing the throttle will just amplify your spin. So you need to be very careful. But this seems to be going up quite alright. Let's just ease back and check where we're going. Yeah. That's where we need to be. It's quite a big orbit. It's almost out of the moon, to be honest. But we can do that. We just need to get up there and get stable. When you're stable in an orbit with all parts above 70,000, then you can start playing with the specifics. So yeah, this is going to be my main career mode from now on. I'm not going to be doing a restart, because Kerbal Space Program seems to be pretty fixed in what features it's going to offer now, so I'm going to keep building this. And anyway, guys, if you like it, stay tuned for my next episode, and I'll see you later. If you like this video, please show your support. Remember to like, comment, or subscribe. And you can check me out on Patreon too, where you can help the channel from as little as $1 US.